It was 1992 and I was 12 years old. My Aunt Evelyn loved to bring me to Radio City every year to see the Rockettes. New York City was one of the most amazing places that I had ever seen in my life. So much so that, after coming here for a few years to see the Rockettes, I, confessed that I'm going to move to New York City one day. And my family was like, yeah, okay, Renee. When I graduated from high school, I had, got accepted to some historically Black colleges, and I decided I wasn't ready. Renee wanted to do a different route. I wanted to come to New York and be a journalist. That was my dream. And one day I just woke up and decided I'm going to New York. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't make plans. I jumped in a car and I came to New York City with really no direction of what I was going to do once I got here. I just wanted to be here. I went to Hot 97. I went to different radio stations, just trying to get a door open to, be this freelance personality. I mean, if I had to clean a toilet, I would have cleaned it. And they were kind of like, who's this person? I mean, I was 19 years old. I was eager, but I didn't have the credentials. Just saying I want to be in radio or I want to be a journalist is not enough. I instantly found myself in a position where I had no money. I had no place of employment, and I was roaming New York City. I found myself, sleeping in that car. I used to sleep under the Whitestone Bridge. It was great for a couple of weeks until you get tickets on your car. And if anyone has been to New York City, they know that the traffic police are notorious for issuing any and every ticket they can. So I found myself sleeping on the A train. I would wash up in gas station bathrooms. No one knew that I was homeless. I was a minimalist, so I took just the bare necessities with me. There were days where I had to make a decision. I have $1 in my pocket. Do I buy a 50-cent Tropical Fantasy and a Little Debbie snack, or do I save it to get on the subway? That was my reality. And some people would say, well, why wouldn't you just go home? And when you have a desire to do something and there's a purpose and a calling on your life, you won't take the easy way out. You'll do what you need to do to make that happen. And that's exactly what I did. Was it easy? No. I found myself saying, I have to go into a shelter system because I couldn't sustain just washing up in gas station bathrooms anymore. My first shelter was Covenant House. And because you can't stay in Covenant House for too long after you max out to a certain age, I went to the women's shelter in Brooklyn on Saratoga, Help USA. I decided I needed to go to college. By this time, I'm 21. I enrolled myself into Mega Evers. I'm homeless, so I have no income. I went to Mega Evers for 2 years and dropped out. I found it challenging, and I wasn't mentally ready to handle that kind of setback. It was, again, another blow of, here we go with something that's challenging, and I don't want to face it right now. I have too much challenges of my own. I'm going home at night to sleep in a shelter when most people are, my classmates. It was so weird. They're like, oh, so maybe I'll come over to your house, which is normal things that classmates do. But I didn't have a house. I didn't tell people I lived in a shelter. I didn't want the stigma. I always knew Renee is cut from a different cloth. Renee is going through something, but she's going to come out on top. And I didn't call my family for a year because I was embarrassed and I was ashamed. And I didn't want them to see me at this very low point in my life, because I felt like, just let me grind. Just let me have the opportunity to make these dreams come to fruition. Not proud of it, but I got into a relationship with one of the employees there. And it turned into a romantic relationship. And he said I could come stay with him in the Bronx. And I thought, this is great. And that relationship lasted for about 1.5 years until I found out that he had a drug problem. Luckily, I had a coworker who let me stay at her house, Polo Grounds in Harlem, which is not the best places either. And my coworker was an alcoholic, which I didn't know. I didn't know my coworker was an alcoholic until I started living with her. So I stayed with her for a week because she would literally come home after work and drink a bottle of liquor, and it was toxic, and I couldn't live there. As I became older, I wanted better jobs. And so I applied for a federal government position. The position would have paid me $85,000 as an executive assistant. And they said, we love you, but you don't have a college degree, so we can't proceed any further with your resume and application. I don't feel defeated often, but I felt defeated then. I was broken. Like, I felt like, I know I need this education. I know it's important for me to go to school. I have so many skills and I have over 20 years of work experience, but I'm never going to get past the threshold of that 50,000 and under bracket, no matter how good I am, without a piece of paper. So I literally took a whim and typed in tuition-free school, like, yeah, this doesn't exist. And University of the People comes up. And I'm looking like I'm being punked. This isn't real. It says, what do you mean tuition-free? It's impossible. So I go on University of People's website and I start looking. Oh, the website looks legit. I check down at the bottom of it and say, oh, the copyright on it is legit. It's the right year. You know, that's how you check. And I decided to send an email. And they were very responsive and they said, this isn't a scam. They told me that they were accredited. I did my due diligence in making sure that that accreditation was true. And then after talking with a few advisors, you know, asked them what I needed, and all of this information was on the website. I went through the course catalog, you know, the courses mashed up, and I couldn't believe it. And by way of one of the representatives at the school, I was able to even meet President Rashif and have breakfast with him before my first term started. So I was able to sit down with him and ask him questions about why he started this school. And I really got a sense that he cared about the students and the quality of the education, and that it should be affordable, and that people like me shouldn't have to sell their soul to go to college and to better their life. And so I made the decision to go ahead and apply, and I was accepted. Actually, I got my acceptance letter on Thanksgiving Day, and I did my first term. I made the dean's list with a 3.83. I'm on my second term there, and I am on my way to my business administration degree. And I will never be denied for a job or any opportunity in New York City or elsewhere again because of University of the People.